In 1990, South Africa's Sea Fisheries Research Institute, at the urging of the commercial fishing industry, took steps to develop a conservation policy to protect the white shark. So, as a first step, they asked Dr. Leonard Campagno, a world renowned shark expert, and his PhD student, Dave Ebert, at the South African Museum's Shark Research Center in Cape Town, if they would gather all of the known scientific information available at the time on white sharks in South African waters. The information they provided would be used to develop a first national conservation policy on a shark. And in 1991, South Africa became the first country in the world to pass legislation protecting the white shark, the first such protection measures provided to a shark. This was later followed by Australia in 1993, and in California in 1994, they passed their own legislation, thus making the white shark one of the most protected species in the world. Other charismatic species such as the tiger shark and oceanic white-tip shark, among other species, soon followed suit, and they were also eventually provided protections in many countries. However, while these charismatic species have been afforded protection and research funds to study them, most shark and ray species have been overlooked with little attention being paid to them. It is now these lost sharks that may be disappearing without notice. Ecuador's lost shark, called the Sharpfin Houndshark, is known scientifically as Trichus acutipinna. It is just one of 5 species comprising the houndshark genus Trichus. A genus is a higher level of classification, just above the species level, but groups similar species based on morphological and genetic similarities. All 5 of these houndshark species are coastal inhabitants, making them potentially invulnerable to intense fishing pressure in some regions. The spotted gully shark, Trichus megalopterus, which occurs in southern African waters from South Africa to southern Angola, is the only member of the genus that occurs outside the Pacific Ocean. It's been assessed as least concern by the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. The banded hound shark, Trichus cilium, occurs in the northwestern Pacific, from Russia to the Koreas, Japan, China, and Taiwan, and it is assessed as endangered due to intense fishing pressure that occurs within its range. The leopard shark, Trichus semifasciata, found in the northeastern Pacific, from Washington state to the Gulf of California, is a very common species along the coastal areas and in bays and estuaries. It's assessed as least concern due to relatively low fishing pressure within its range. The 2 remaining species in the genus Trichus occur in the southeastern Pacific, with the spotted hound shark, Trichus maculata, occurring from Peru to northern Chile and around the Galapagos Islands, but it does not occur off the Ecuadorean mainland. This species, except for the Galapagos Islands, which is a large marine protected area, is heavily fished along the Peruvian mainland where it occurs, and it's assessed as critically endangered due to the heavy fishing pressure on the species. The sharpfin houndshark, by comparison, is only assessed as endangered compared to the spotted hound shark, yet the sharpfin houndshark is known from only 2 specimens. We arrived at the coastal town of Puerto Lopez, a commercial and sports fishing town where fishes such as amberjack, wahoo, tunas, and mahi-mahi are highly sought after. And sharks are also a common catch. In addition to fishing, ecotourism is a primary industry, with whale watching a popular activity from mid-June to October when humpback whales are mating. After arriving, we go to the fish landing site and meet up with our colleague and friend, Adriana Cevallos, an Ecuadorian marine biologist who monitors the local fish landings, especially for sharks and rays. It was Adriana who first brought it to my attention that there were no contemporary records of the sharpfin houndshark. Adriana shows us around the fish markets and landing sites, where we document and examine the species that are being caught. Adriana is well connected and well liked in the fishing community here, and discusses the sharpfin houndshark with the fishermen. The key to finding any lost shark is getting to know the local fishermen, connecting with them and building relationships. Here Adriana places a poster after talking with one of the fishermen about this shark, and asked him to let the other fishermen know to contact her should they catch our shark. We talk with as many fishermen as possible and learn from them the kinds of sharks they catch and the changes they've seen over the years. People outside the field tend to think we spend a lot of our time at sea and on a boat, but in reality, the best place to find lost sharks is at a fish landing site or at a fish market. I've developed hundreds of relationships with fishermen all around the world over my 40-year career, and I still maintain and keep in touch with many of them because you never know what cool lost shark they may find. After talking with the fishermen, it's time to head out to Isla de Plata. We board our boat to take the 25-mile or 40-kilometer trip across the channel to the island. Crossing the channel, we are entertained by pods of humpback whales, which includes mothers with calves. A small island covering about 2.5 square miles or about 6 kilometers, it has a rich history shrouded in legend, with stories of buried treasures of silver allegedly left by Sir Francis Drake. Hence the name Isla de Plata, which in English translates to Silver Island. The name may also refer to the large guano deposits left by the bird populations inhabiting the island, which give the cliffs a silvery appearance. As we approach the island, I feel a sense of excitement, that feeling one gets on Christmas Day when you are waiting to discover what's under the tree. As we come alongside the island, I wonder what it must have been like 60 years ago when a team from the University of Miami first explored here. What has changed over the years? Isla de Plata is part of the Michel National Park, a nature preserve established in 1978 near Puerto Lopez. Fishing is not permitted within a 2-mile radius of the island. The island is largely uninhabited except for an interpretive center, and the island is part of the Michel National Park, a nature preserve established in 1978, and people can visit the island and take guided hiking nature tours of the island. Uninhabited, the island is a birdwatcher's paradise for seabirds, including blue-footed boobies, Nazca boobies, and frigate birds, among others. And the island serves as a nesting area for many of these species. In addition to seabirds, the marine life surrounding the island is rich with fishes and green sea turtles, and where whale sharks are known to congregate. And most impressively, Isla de Plata is home to the largest known aggregation of oceanic manta rays, which congregate in the area from June to October. It was my good friend Michel Guerrero, an Ecuadorian marine biologist, who started diving at Isla de Plata in 1996, who first documented the oceanic manta rays aggregating in the waters surrounding Isla de Plata. And in 2010, Michel co-founded the organization Project Mantis Ecuador and began tagging and tracking oceanic mantas. To date, his organization has identified over 2,500 individuals. Although Michel has been diving in these waters for decades, he had never seen or even heard of the Sharpfin Houndshark until I brought it to his attention. Dropping into the waters surrounding Isla de Plata, we were surrounded by schooling fishes. Descending into the abyss, I finally get to see the kind of habitat the Sharpfin Houndshark once occupied. And it is remarkable how spot on the fishermen were in describing it. I feel as though I'm stepping back in time and trying to imagine what the undersea habitat and environment was like more than 60 years ago, and if it has changed over time, if at all. Stingrays or flat sharks are cousins of the Sharpfin Houndshark and are abundant, as are green sea turtles. But what has changed? The spotted houndshark has been assessed as critically endangered by the IUCN, but it is still seen commonly by divers and fishermen. While the Sharpfin Houndshark, Ecuador's lost shark, has seemingly vanished. But what has happened, and why has this shark seemingly disappeared? The spotted houndshark is still common in Peru and off Ecuador's Galapagos Islands, but we can find no records of it off the Ecuador mainland. My mind thinks back to how my journey began. by visiting the California Academy of Sciences to examine one of only 2 known specimens. In addition to my own examination of the Sharpfin Houndshark, and to further confirm the validity of the species, I've asked my friend Mark Harris, an expert on shark teeth, to re-examine the teeth of the Sharpfin Houndshark and the other 4 houndshark species in the genus. His conclusion? The teeth are distinct from anything else and unique to this species. This information thus helps confirm its validity. To date, 2 species have been declared potentially extinct. The Red Sea torpedo ray, last recorded in 1898, and the lost shark, last recorded in 1934. Both species are known from only 3 museum specimens each. A third species, the Java stingaree, has been declared extinct. It's the first known record of extinction in a marine fish. All we know about the Java stingaree is based on a single museum specimen collected in 1862. The only evidence we have that these 3 species ever existed is based on specimens that were deposited into museum collections over 90 years ago. Similarly, our only evidence that the Sharpfin Houndshark ever existed is based on 2 museum specimens, one at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History and another at the California Academy of Sciences. Adriana has searched the natural history museums with fish collections in Ecuador and has not found any additional specimens in those collections. The importance of museum collections cannot be overstated. Because if not for these fish collections, we would have no idea that any of these species ever existed. Although we have not been successful in finding the Sharpfin Houndshark, our journey has raised awareness of this species and other lost sharks in the region. Species such as the sawfish that has become mostly extirpated from Ecuadorian waters. We've learned a lot, however, about the Sharpfin Houndshark's habitat and fishing history from longtime fishermen, such as Julio Bologna, who are willing to share their knowledge about it. It is concerning because unlike other species such as the Java stingaree, Red Sea torpedo ray, and lost shark, all of which have disappeared over 90 years ago, where there are no living fishermen having any knowledge of those species. The Sharpfin Houndshark, now known as Ecuador's lost shark, has vanished and possibly gone extinct within the past generation, but where the collective memories of longtime fishermen still remember it from their youth. With no verifiable records that still exist, this troubling conclusion leads to more questions than answers. While Ecuadorian marine biologists like Michel Guerrero, Gabriela Rivera, Walter Gonzalez, and Adriana Cevallos continue to search for Ecuador's lost shark by raising public awareness and informing the fishing communities and diving communities. Potential loss of this species has chilling effects on the other lost sharks that may be disappearing right before our eyes. Time is of the essence, as we do not know yet what other lost sharks may be disappearing. My personal 40-year journey continues, but now rather than as a lone explorer, fellow travelers such as Adriana Pestana and others have joined in my search for lost sharks, as we race against time and extinction to determine the fate of other lost sharks before they disappear, like dust in the wind.